Hey everyone, it's Ethan or Miist back again for another video today, and welcome back to the channel, guys. Bye, Betty. And welcome back to the channel, guys. We're here again for yet another video. Today we're going to be going through every movie I watched last week, which I had a pretty solid week. I watched about 16 movies, I believe. So let's get into it, and let's start off with my least favorite of the week, which is The Lion King 1.5. So 2025 is around. Happy New Year to you all. We've got new goals for the year, and one of them was watch The Lion King, and I figured it was a pretty good time to do it because obviously Mufasa's in theaters right now, so I watched all 5 of the Lion King movies, and my least favorite was 1.5, mostly because I just don't like Simba and Timon and Pumbaa, my bad. Just don't like Timon and Pumbaa. They're quite annoying and obnoxious, and I don't like them at all. So, 49 out of 100. Let's move on to Mufasa, the Lion King, which, of course, is the newest in this franchise, and it was okay. I don't think it was anything too special. It was fine. 53 out of 100. Let's move on to Conclave. Now, Conclave was an interesting movie for me because I expected to really, really love and enjoy this movie, which I didn't really feel that way. I thought it was decent, but overall there was a lot that I just, it was just kind of decent, It's wonderfully acted, and it's wonderfully shot. It's beautiful to look at as well. I feel like we kind of get off the rails a little bit towards the end, but for the most part, I enjoyed this movie. 66 out of 100. Let's move on to The Lion King 2, Simba's Pride. Simba's kind of an unbearable bitch in this movie, I'm not going to lie, but overall, even though it is kind of like a copy and paste of the first movie, we have some differences and some different storytelling throughout, but it's just not as good as the first, obviously. It was also decent. 67 out of 100. Well, let's move on to Woman of the Hour, which is actually one of my... Oh, sorry, I didn't even mention it back with Conclave. That was my last movie of 2024, which I ranked it was my 701st movie of the year. I watched over 700 movies last year, which we'll talk about more here shortly. So anyways, Woman of the Hour, a pretty decent movie, which was quite interesting and kind of had my interest, and I was kind of gripped and interested throughout, so that was nice. I did definitely enjoy this, and thought it was pretty decent. I learned a lot. I did not know this was based on a true story, and overall, a decent watch, 69 out of 100. So let's move on to The Lion King, which is the live-action remake, which I ranked a 72 out of 100, which I also quite enjoyed, actually. This is probably one movie that I feel like is a little overhated because it's compared to the original, which is what most people consider to be a masterpiece, especially in animated filmmaking. And yes, truthfully, I don't find it's as good as the original, but Chiwetel Ejiofor in this movie, is absolutely incredible. I think he is a great, great Scar, and to be honest, I think I prefer him over Jeremy Irons as Scar, believe it or not. And this movie is also a technical spectacle, really, because it's absolutely wonderful. It is beautiful to look at. It looks so much better than I thought it did, especially seeing all the trailers for Mufasa recently. I was not expecting a lot from this movie, but I enjoyed it more than I thought, and it looked so much better than I thought it was going to, especially compared to Mufasa, which Mufasa came out 5 years later, and it looks a lot worse. So, yeah. Shout out to The Lion King, 72 out of 100. Let's move on to perhaps the biggest disappointment of the week, and really one of my biggest disappointments of 2024, which is Nosferatu, which I'm very sad to say I did not enjoy as much as I expected. I did enjoy it, and I thought it was good. I ranked it a 73 out of 100, so it's definitely not the highest rated watch of the week by any means, which really sucks because I was hoping I was going to really, really love this movie. And I specifically have not made any top 10 lists because I was waiting to watch this movie. So I'm a little upset that it didn't end up panning out to be one of my favorites of the year. But not much I can do about that, really. So that kind of sucks. Although I will say it's visually appealing. It's definitely a technical masterclass, one of the best technical pieces of film throughout 2024, and it's probably the most effective horror I've seen in 2024 as well. So shout out to Nosferatu for that. 73 out of 100. Let's move on to a documentary that I was watching with Mel, but she didn't end up finishing with me. But CM Punk Best in the World came out in 2012. This is a documentary I've been wanting to watch literally since I became a wrestling fan when it came out, and I just never watched it. So I'm glad I finally got around to doing it because it was recently uploaded on WWE's YouTube channel. So learned a lot. Really took us through the growth of CM Punk from where he started to where he ended up at his arguable peak in 2011, 2012. So very cool. Yeah, enjoyed it. Let's move on to Chef, and this movie is really surprising to me. This is a movie I ended up really enjoying a lot more than I thought. Although one thing I've learned recently over the past year, I'd say, is that I really enjoyed movies about cooking, and I don't know if that says something about me. Like I'm not a chef by any means. I'm not a great really cook either. I can make some things, but not very well, I don't think. And yeah, I don't know. Chefing is just very interesting to me. And this movie just felt like a nice, like, comforting hug, you know? I really had a good time with this, and it was a lot of fun. And I really like Jon Favreau as a director, so I'm going to finish his filmography this week. That's another one of my goals of the year. So yeah, going to finish his filmography this week, and I'm looking forward to finishing it with Zathura, Jungle Book, his first movie, I don't remember what it's called, and I think I'm missing another one, but yeah, very, very cool nonetheless. So 81 out of 100 for Chef. Let's move on to Juror number 2, which is a very thought-provoking film that really makes you think about some very interesting decisions, especially within the judicial systems. Now, as a Canadian, obviously some judicial systems are quite different than in America, but there's still lots to interpret here that you can affect, or that you can apply, to your country. It doesn't really matter what country you're in. So, very interesting to kind of see some legal behind the scenes, something I've not really seen. And this is a very great, thrilling courtroom drama. And again, it's one that really makes you think a lot, I think, as well. So, Juror number 2 actually ended up becoming one of my favorites of 2024. So that's nice. 82 out of 100. And that was kind of how I started the week last week on the 30th. So, all right, let's move on to The Lion King, which I ranked an 83 out of 100. Which, like I said earlier, it's known to be one of the best animated movies ever made, and although I did enjoy it and I felt a very real emotional connection to it as well, I didn't absolutely love this movie, kind of like I expected to. So, but nonetheless, I still enjoyed it. I ranked it an 83 out of 100. It's not like I think it's bad by any means, but overall, it's just not a great movie. Or it is a great movie, but it's not a perfect movie, like I see a lot of people say. So, let's move on to We Live in Time, which is now, we're now in the top 5. So We Live in Time also became one of my favorite 2024 watches, and this one really shot high up on my list as soon as I watched it, and I'm glad I watched it because I felt very connected to this movie, and this is a very scary movie, truthfully. It's not a horror movie, but it's just scary to think of what the future could hold, especially for you and your loved ones or you and your partners. So, yeah, very, very interesting and heart-wrenching. It hurt a lot. After I watched it, I was going to watch another movie. I honestly just couldn't. I just felt so stunned and depressed after it. I just I didn't really feel anything after that. So, yeah, it was. It's quite a great movie in my opinion. 91 out of 100. Let's move on to what was my 700th movie of the year. Yes, I watched 701 movies last year in 2024, which is by far the highest I've ever done in my life, which is absolutely insane because that's insane. So, yeah, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, my 700th movie of the year. And this has kind of become a staple in watching movies for me. It's become like the way I end the year, really. This is kind of like a tradition now where I end the year with Puss in Boots. 2023, I ended it with Puss in Boots. 2024, it was my second last, which, whatever. As long as I watch it on the 31st, that's kind of what the tradition has become to be now. So, yeah, I've talked about this movie a fair amount now. Really love this movie, and the rank just keeps getting higher every time I watch it. So, shout out to Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. Let's move on to The Shawshank Redemption, which is a first-time watch for me, believe it or not. And I don't really have anything to say that I can add to this conversation, but I ranked it a 98 out of 100. I really, really, really want to and plan on rewatching it this year because it was a really, truly wonderful movie, and it makes sense why it's the highest rated in the IMDb with a 9.3 IMDb rating, which is absolutely insane. This movie put me through a lot of emotions. I cried a lot this week to movies, actually, now that I think about it. So I cried to Shawshank, The Lion King, and We Live in Time. So, damn, it was an emotional week. And I got emotional to Wicked and Infinity War, which we're about to talk about. So, yeah, 98 out of 100 for Shawshank. Let's move on to 99 out of 100, my second favorite of the week, which is Wicked. Still my favorite movie of 2024. I was really tired when I watched this, so it didn't really hit as much as I kind of expected it to upon rewatch for a third time, but I didn't change the ranking. And I am excited to watch it again with Mel at some point over the next few months. I'm sure we'll watch it again since we do own it now, and you can watch it now at home. So, yeah, I was quite tired, but we had a good time with this still, nonetheless. 99 out of 100. And let's move on to what is obviously my number one of the week, Avengers Infinity War. And to be honest, after rewatching it yesterday, I'm kind of thinking about putting it back at number one. I don't know. I watched Across the Spider-Verse last week. I watched Infinity War this week. I always love starting my year off with Infinity War, watching it at some point in January. That's kind of a tradition of mine as well. So, yeah, I don't know. I might actually just put Infinity War back at number one and Spider-Verse down to 2. I don't know. It's kind of up in the air right now. We'll see. I really want to rewatch them both like back to back to see which one I truthfully do love more because I really don't know. So, yeah, that's it. That's it, really. That's all I got for you guys today. So, thank you all so much for watching. Hopefully you did enjoy, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.